Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Booked, a place to explore the realms of creativity. Today's guest is author of The Midnight Dolls, Zoë Partyka.
Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm here. I'm cold. I'm cold, really cold right now.
The I'm here is the I wish I wasn't here. I'm alive.
That's my default response, okay? I have no other responses.
I can tell you've worked in customer service before. That's amazing. Oh. Do you say, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry at work? Because then you've got, the full portfolio of sayings.
No, but see, I got the tried and true, living the dream.
Oh, living the dream! That is for when you, in fact, are not living the dream.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
What an introduction. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. We've had lots of back and forths on Twitter. I will always call it Twitter. Unless there's an actual penalty legally, in which case I will bow down to the system. But now I feel like I can say it. I've read your book, The Midnight Dolls, which is fucking gorgeous. Okay, little promo for this book. I'm going to tell you how it made me feel. It made me feel like I was sat in a smoky room with brown and orange crushed velvet couches and a lot of booze. And I was just happy and didn't really know what was going on. And it's not because I didn't know what was going on in the book. It just made me, it took me back to a time that I never existed in a way that I imagine it would to have been. And I don't know, from the moment I started reading it, it just made me feel incredibly cozy. And I know that it's not a cozy book, geared towards people who want to wear fluffy socks and sit under a blanket. But I don't know, there was a lot of warmth to it, and you're an incredible storyteller. So I just wanted to say that I loved it, and thank you for writing it. And thank you for being here. I've said that 3 times now because I'm just excited. Could you tell the listeners a little bit about the book?
Yeah, I can. It took me a long time actually to figure out what the book was about myself.
Really?
It did, actually. At its core, it's a lot of about basically it follows a journalist as he's writing about this band. And I know that sounds really similar to Almost Famous, and I've had people review it and actually say that. It's a lot more than just that, because that's just basically what it is from the surface, totally surface level. There's a lot more going on to it, and I think a lot of what it comes down to, a lot of the difference and kind of what it's about stems kind of more from where I got the idea from than that surface level, it's similar to this, that sort of thing. I don't know if that was a really good answer to it, but there's a lot of music, a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, a lot of
drama,
a lot of drama, a lot of really sarcastic, self-deprecating humor, and a narrator that absolutely hates himself. So
there's
basically
a lot of feeling. There's a lot of feelings in it, but not
yes.
I don't like it when a book just makes me feel sad. This is a book that makes you feel a bunch of shit, and I don't know, it was just a wild ride and really fun, and it really felt like as a reader you were able to watch the show. Do you know what I mean? I was able to see exactly what was happening. It wasn't this ambiguous experience. It was oh shit, I'm sat on the couch watching all this happen. And that felt really cool because I was okay, I'm in the story. Nice. It was great.
I'm glad that that kind of came off, because as writing it, I'm da 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 da. Ooh, this sounds nice and fun, and my inner monologue goes off. And it always surprises me when people say that. So thank you. I feel very honored.
Well, you're welcome. And I really mean it. And I'm curious to know. So you said that it took you a while to figure out what it was actually about. What was the core of it that started everything off?
A lot of what it comes down to. So I was really interested in, well, in music.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
Yes.
But not only music, like, but the whole media side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of really had the idea. I'm gonna back up a little bit here and say I really like The Doors.
Me
just
too.
Gonna throw that out there.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad that I knew it in my heart that you must have liked The Doors.
Yeah, they're amazing. It gave me big Doors vibes.
Yes, exactly. Well, I actually found this article that what it was when the 90s movie came out with Val Kilmer. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
It is. That's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. So when that movie came out, the surviving members of the Doors actually kind of came back and they were like, I hate the way that he was portrayed in this. That's not how he actually was. And then that kind of got me thinking, like, how many other musicians kind of ended up with that fate? And then I fell down this big rabbit hole.
A big rabbit hole.
A big rabbit hole. You can call me Dr. Seuss. A big hole rabbit hole. We're gonna keep rolling with that one. To really looking more into that. And that was when I kind of realized that was the story that I wanted to tell. So that's a lot of what the story is it's, here's this person and yeah, they're a shit. Like, they're a shit. But there's more nuance. There's more to that person. And I feel like that's a lot of us too, like we put on this front and say, hey, this is me. But, is it really?
Vapid. Yeah.
Is it really?
So, you are a very passionate musician.
Yes.
We know this about you. And if you didn't know it, you know it now. Very, very passionate musician. How much of the sort of plot or events within the book have been based on things that you've actually experienced? If you're allowed to tell me that.
Yeah, I'm allowed to tell you that. Absolutely. And I will absolutely tell you. So, when I actually first started writing this book, very first drafting it, I was basically just playing music to myself in my house. But as I progressed in the book, like I took a hiatus from writing it.
Yeah.
Moved across the country and started picking up my instrument a lot more. I had a lot more time. I started actually going to open jams. And there is one scene in the book where the narrator, he's the narrator, not the main character. It's a weird little difference, but it works, I think, hopefully. Anyway, thanks for the reassurance. Where they're kind of like, hey, you need to like get up there and play music with us. Like there's something that it makes sense in the book, I promise. But and like he goes up there and plays, he's playing the keyboard and I play the bass. But he goes up there and plays, and it's this scene where he's describing it as like, you don't think about it, like you think about it so much and then you get up there and you do it and it's like, oh. And so that's kind of like that was actually my first experience at an open jam night. Cool. Where I took my bass. There's a story about that bass too. There actually is.
Excellent.
I took my bass to this open jam night with a singer friend, and we were both like, we were shaking nervous, because we're playing music essentially with people we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they play, and a lot of music is intuition and knowing where the next person's going, where they're gonna go from here, how they're gonna advance the song, yada yada. And so we get up there, and I'm shaking as I'm waiting, and then they were like, okay, let's do it. And first note, I'm like dead still. I'm like just rocking out, just jamming, just going with it. And the drummer is actually the lead singer of the most locally famous band in our area. And afterwards he comes up to me and he's like, what were his exact words? They were, you really know how to play the instrument and you know how to play it well. And he's like, I've seen the most phenomenal guitarists not be able to get up on stage because they can't play with somebody else.
What a compliment.
And I'm like, oh,
that's really cool.
I'm like, thank you. But
that's very cool.
That's mostly the only scene that kind of really translates to directly over. I'm sure there's probably some other ones sprinkled in here and there.
Yeah, some sort of influences from your experiences.
Yeah, basically.
Cool. I want to know what this bass story is.
Okay, so it's a good one.
Okay,
it's a good one.
I'm strapped in.
So I've always played the bass, and I actually played the bass because my stepdad played the bass in a band, and I was kind of, which actually I had the idea for my pen name from him. And so when I was drafting this book, I was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw a picture of this bass. And I thought it was the dumbest looking bass. It's gaudy and carnival ride glitter, and I clicked on it and I was like, what in the heck even is this? And it was an Italian company, EKO, and they made these basses for a very short period of time. They're still in company, and they still produce instruments and basses and guitars. I loved the look of this bass. So I wrote it into the story. The main character, the character that the narrator kind of focuses on, his name is Nick. He plays the bass, and he plays this bass. And so I knew I was never going to get one because they're super rare. They're from like 1962. I was scrolling through one of the like Reverb, the used instrument thing, and I saw one.
Oh, no shit.
It's gold. So in the book it's blue because that was the picture that I saw. And I showed it to my husband, and we were at a concert, front and center, this concert. He's drunk as hell. And he pulls it up on his phone. He's like, I just bought this bass for you.
That's amazing.
But the story gets weirder after that. After that. Okay. So the bass actually got shipped from England. Because
that's cool. That's where I'm from.
Yeah. It's an Italian bass. So it was more common over there. And in the packaging, there is a handwritten note that says, thank you for purchasing this bass. I hope you really enjoy it the same way I did. Signed, Nick.
No shit. That's so crazy.
And I was like, this is the weirdest thing to ever happen to me right now.
It was your bass.
Yeah, I was like, this is very, very, very strange. I still have the little note.
Good.
By the way, I kept it. Like, this is really weirding me out, but
that's very cool. Wow. That was a good story. Sometimes when people say, oh, get ready, it's a crazy story, and they're like, I bought it on Craigslist. Like that. And I'm like, that wasn't a good story.
Yeah.
But that was great. I really enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing. That's sick.
Yeah.
I love it when spooky shit like that happens.
That was some spooky shit.
Real spooky. So I know that you have a blog. Is it the Bell Bottom Bassist?
Yes. Yeah,
Which is
I do.
an excellent name for a blog. It's absolutely the right name for you. So, have you been a writer for a long time? Have you enjoyed writing? Because I know that you write articles and you seem to put a lot of effort and a lot of time and love into everything you write. So is it something that you have just picked up since you've written The Midnight Dolls, or have you always done it?
I have always written. I actually still have the very first story that I wrote. I hand wrote it. I was 11 years old, and I used to actually get detention consistently for reading in class. And yeah, I would stick the book under my desk and I would read. I would like look down and read. And after so many times of that happening, I realized that if I write my own stories to read, it looks like I'm working.
Oh, that's
Therefore, I cannot get in trouble.
Oh, that's so clever. Oh my god.
So that was how I started writing, and that was actually for a very long time I just wrote for myself because that's what I always did.
Are you somebody that can reread books?
100% yes.
I can't do it. I can't.
It has to be a specific book though.
Okay, not just like anything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like if you ask me to reread The Court of blah blah blah, I would tell you to go fly a kite. Kindly.
They look very big. They're not the kind of thing that I would read, so I'm not going to pick them up. And it's no offense to the author. That's fine. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. Books like that. That's fine. So is that... Do you... Okay, I'm going to back it up before I put
I don't read that type of book. I do not.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't want to put my foot in it and then say something and have like some big reading community. Not that they're going to listen to this, but have some big... just go off on one, because I'm a pacifist. I talk a big game. I'm all mouth, no trousers. I'm like, oh, fucking fight him. Actually, I'm like, please leave me alone. I'm just trying to be quiet over here.
I'm just trying to live my life.
I'm just trying to exist, man. We're all just trying to exist and survive to the next day. We're all just living the dream. So, do you have a particular type of writing that type of book that you like to read, or are you just like a whatever takes your fancy? Are you going to tell me something very embarrassing because your facial expression is great? It's so funny. Okay.
I would describe the books I read. I'm gonna first say, can I say a swear word?
I've been swearing.
Okay, the books I read are weird as fuck.
Okay,
like,
cool.
Capital fuck.
Amazing.
Like,
cool.
Me and my sister especially, we just find like the book Bunny. I know that's a lot of people have heard that one. Bunny is a weird one. It's like some weird culty book, but there's like some really fucked up shit in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I wrote that one down for later.
I was gonna say, did you just write that one down?
I might have my pen in my hand. Yes, excellent.
But yeah, no, books like that. The one that I'm currently reading is called Boy Parts.
Okay.
And it is a book. It is a book. You actually, I don't know if you read weird shit, but you actually probably would get a little bit, understand a little bit more out of it than I do, because the writer is very English.
Oh yeah,
So there's a lot of very
right,
English
definitely.
like slang terms,
Mhm.
and like I can pick up on it based on context, but like I'm halfway through it, and that's about the time where I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about.
Oh, I see. Is it thick, as like with two C's, big, or is it just like whoa, kind of crazy, weird?
It's just crazy weird.
Cool. Don't tell me any more.
I won't. It's just really. I just got to a part, and I'm like, oh. So
I guess I'll be reading that as well then. I love a book that isn't the standard like structure. And I also really like reading things that make me go, oh fucking hell. Like I like that in a book. I don't want to be like, oh that's nice. I can see that on the street. Yeah, I don't necessarily want my books to be comforting and to give me hope.
me either.
Sometimes I like it to be tragedy, and then nothing gets resolved because it's shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. That is the type of book that I absolutely love.
Mm.
I have a whole Goodreads shelf called Weird Ones.
I'll have to check that out. I'm definitely going to look at that after
100%.
this.
100%.
I will definitely look at that. Yeah, that's hilarious. So, in terms of you, sorry, you said that you wrote for yourself back in the day. Do you still do that now?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Do you write weird shit?
Every book that I write is for myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like I wrote the Midnight Dolls basically for myself. As weird as that might sound, I sat down and I was
weird.
like, I'm having a great time over here, like a time and a half. Yeah, every book I go into starting to do it for myself, because you spend all this time sitting in front of your computer drafting this story, creating these characters, doing like all this work. You got to get enjoyment out of it, right? Like,
yeah.
Am I weird for thinking that?
Not at all. I mean, everybody's got their own motivations for writing, but I do think it is very apparent that you enjoyed writing the book. It didn't feel laboured and like you were trying to shoehorn things in there, or let me put this in for shock value. It felt like a fully fledged, matured story, and it's very clear. Like saying that you have been writing for a very, very long time, and the fact that your audience, and then if other people like it, that's even better. That's awesome, fantastic. I don't know. I think you can tell when there's heart and soul in something, whether it's music or stories or whatever. I think that's very, very cool. I love that it's a self-indulgent activity because we need more of that.
Well,
very
thanks.
Cool.
Thanks.
That's okay.
I'm over here like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, stop complimenting me.
No, I'm not going to stop complimenting you.
I'm over here like an awkward little bean, like.
It's fine. I can't accept compliments, and I'm like, stop lying to me, you dick. When people say nice things to me, but also I'm not going to stop saying nice things because they're true, and I don't. The point in lying, I just wouldn't say anything if I didn't think much of it. I just go, you wrote a book. Okay, moving on.
You did this. Good
you did
job.
a thing. So, thinking about the fact that you write for yourself, you might not be able to give me an answer to this, and that's fine. What does success look like to you as a writer? Because some people have, I mean, we've seen it all over social media. Some people have numbers that they work to. Some people, like, if one person reads it, that's great. If one person even downloads it or buys it, that's great, even if they didn't like it. What does it look like to you, or what makes you feel good about your book? Or about your writing in general?
For me, it is that one person. It's very important to me that at least one person gets something out of it. You know, art, especially the brand that I write in, is very up for interpretation. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't, what you might get out of it, someone else might get something completely different out of it. And for me, as long as I have that one person who has read it and felt something from it, whether they tell me or not, that's the most important thing to me. That's how I know that I'm successful with it.
Cool.
Might be a cheesy little.
That's almost the exact answer I thought you were going to give. And that is a compliment, because you don't seem to be the type of person that's like, I'm only going to be good if I make a profit out of this thing. Because I think you're an artist to your core. It's the joy of actually creating the art, whether it's the music that you play or write, or the words that you write. I don't know, and it comes across very genuine. It's what I'm trying to get at. It doesn't come across as like a desperation, like I must write, otherwise people have to like it, and if people don't like it, then I'm going to freak out. I feel like I'm going to be a very desperate writer, because I can handle criticism, but not very well, and it deeply upsets me if people don't like what I'm doing. So I have to avoid certain things. I think that's one of the things that's stopping me from actually finishing what I'm doing, is that people then will read it and it might make me cry.
Well, I mean, if I can give you a little pro tip.
Please do.
Find the people who have a very gentle hand when you like find beta readers. Because I know that like make or breaks things. Because obviously, like if you get someone and you're like, oh yeah, tear this apart for me, like I want to be better, which I told all my beta readers to beta. I don't know. I never knew how to pronounce that.
That's okay.
And no one did, and I was so mad at them all. I'm like, you guys. But I was like, how can I be better? And they're like, eh. And I'm like, eh. You should hear my comedy sketches. But definitely, find people who, and a lot of it, like it can be friends too. Like it's hard to find other writers, and a lot of times if you like hire people to do it, they're gonna be like, that's my little pro tip.
Yeah, I might need to be like, okay, out to the nice people, and then the slightly less nice people, and then the brutal people. Maybe I'll put myself through trials of increasingly more challenging people. Well, I don't know. Anyway, this isn't about me. I segued by accident.
I segued. It was my fault. I was like, I'm going to give you a tip.
I feel like it was me because I brought it up. It's fine. I can cut it out if I need to. The magic of editing. Ta-da. Ooh. So, I'm going to bring up you handwriting a space opera. Was it a space opera? Because you said it on Twitter, and I said, let's bring it up in the episode, and you said, yeah, go on then. So we're doing that. What the fuck is it?
Oh, God. I don't even honestly remember what it was about. There was like a lot of things going on. I know that. And hold on, I might actually, I probably don't have it here. But I handwrote it in pen.
Amazing. I was very confident of you.
I did not cross any words out. I knew, apparently I knew exactly what I was going to say.
Amazing.
I couldn't tell you how I did that, because I feel like if you ask me to do it again, I'd be like,
what's it like being better than everyone else?
Okay, so part of it is just because I'm really conceited about my handwriting. It's beautiful.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect that from you.
My handwriting's gorgeous.
Is it?
It genuinely is.
Oh,
like,
I want to see it.
Let's see if you have it. I want to see it right here. Let me rifle through my stuff. I don't know if you could hear the rifling.
I could, yeah. Sounds like you're going through a chest. Oh shit, you do have beautiful handwriting.
I wasn't kidding.
It's like an actual font.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I do graphic design and font work, actually.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. These things are connected together. Have you ever considered handwriting an entire novel and then publishing it as printed handwriting? Because I think that would sell.
It's very funny you actually bring that up. Because the book that I'm currently crying through, the voice is very similar to actually the Midnight Dolls because it's the same narrator, but it's a completely different story. I just really like that character and the voice. And the very last chapter, I literally just had this idea yesterday. The very last chapter, I decided that I'm going to handwrite and scan.
That's a great idea. Please do that.
So
I love it when things like that happen. I suggested to Sora Sullivan, who, I mean, at the time of recording this, her episode's out at the moment, and I said, have you thought about creating a graphic novel based on your story? And she lost her shit. So I try and give people those little ideas, and the fact that you already are going to do it gives me butterflies. I love things like that.
We were on the same wavelength right there.
Clearly are. I think I said this to you before. You really remind me of a girl that I went to school with, and her name was Cicely, and very similar vibes. You actually look kind of similar too. And when we first spoke to each other in the intro call before this, I was like, is that American Sicily? That is crazy. And it's weird. It's weird how you meet people that have very similar sort of characteristics of people from your past. And you think,
These things happen.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I can tell you 120% right now that you look almost identical to my lifelong best friend.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so...
Is she also awkward and weird?
She is one of the genuinely funniest people that I know. Oh. And she's a really, really, really great character artist, and I keep trying to gas her up a bit and try to get her to take commissions, but she's like, I don't think people would like my artwork. And I'm like, I think they would.
Okay, does she have social media?
She does.
Okay. After this, you're going to send me her stuff, and I'm going to be like, hello world, this is amazing.
Absolutely.
Let's do that. Okay.
Because I do the exact same thing.
We'll make that happen. That's amazing.
Yes.
Have you thought about doing a graphic novel with your best friend? Creating.
Yes, actually, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we thought about it. We kind of had like a little draft written up. And she actually wanted to do a children's novel. Like, she wanted me to do the writing for the children's novel, and she was going to do the artwork.
That's cool.
But she's going to school right now and doesn't really have a whole lot of time.
That's okay. Future things.
Yeah, future things.
That's the beauty of creating anything, and so many writers that I've spoken to have said, I started writing this book 50 years ago and now I've finally finished it. Because you kind of get something out and you get all the information out, and then it kind of sits there sometimes because the spark of inspiration isn't there, or it's missing something, or I don't know, sometimes you fall out of love with stuff and you have to fall back into love with it again. So maybe one day we'll be hearing from you. That'd be very cool.
Be very cool.
It'd be very cool.
Very cool.
I don't know why, I'm on this kick recently where I'm like, have you thought about creating a graphic novel? It's not come from anywhere. I just think I love it when books have pictures in them.
Same. I love graphic novels.
They're sick. They're fantastic storytelling.
It's so like, good.
I'm probably going to get absolute hate for saying this, but it gives me the same kind of feeling as being able to find like an emoji when I'm texting so that people can see what my face is doing.
Yes.
And they're not in no way the same, but it's a similar thing to be able to give an actual visual. Let people have their picture books. Yes. Let adults read their picture books, because it makes it more rich and more enjoyable, and it's very cool. I also really like it when people have, I don't know what they're called, the like decoration-y things at the top of the chapter.
Oh, the chapter artwork. That's what I always call it.
Oh, that's a good name for it. Yeah. I love that. It makes me very happy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, right?
Spend a little bit of time making that little picture. I like that very much. Very good stuff.
It sets the whole vibe for the chapter.
It does. Setting the mood, very important. Can you read anywhere?
Yes. I was just at the DMV because I was riding dirty on my car. We're not going to talk about that. And I was sitting there with my Kindle. I read during work.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read in the car. As
Mm-hmm.
long as it's on my Kindle. I can't do my phone or a book for whatever weird reason.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like at home.
Mm-hmm.
On the beach. I sometimes read between sets at gigs.
Mm-hmm. Does that center you? Is that why you do that? Or is it just like as in like if you're reading between sets, is it like you putting yourself in the moment, or is that you just like going, oh great, I've got a chance to read something?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, because like we'll be playing a gig and you get like 10, 15 minutes between between each set,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't really like talk to people. I'm the bassist, I'm in the back, like let me vibe. Um so I'll sit on the stage
Mm-hmm.
near my bass and my amp and just like pull out the Kindle.
Nice.
But that way, like, because sometimes people want to come up to me and like they want to discuss the music,
Ew.
and sometimes I'm just not into it. I'm like, can we just listen?
Is that what you say to them?
No. Usually I go, thanks! Like that video of the kid with the avocado and he opens it up. Thanks! Yeah, it's me.
I suppose having a Kindle or a book is a fantastic prop for people not to talk to you. And if you're the kind of person that will talk to somebody that is reading a book or clearly doesn't want to talk to you and you interrupt their reading, you are terrible. I'm just putting that out there. You shouldn't do that. That's mean. What if they lose their place? Or their enjoyment of the book? That's mean.
Yeah, that's like interrupting me while I'm playing the bass, which I've had happen before, actually.
Why? The only time that should happen is if your bass isn't plugged in and you're not making any noise that are trying to tell you.
I fully 120% at an open jam night.
Mm-hmm.
I was the middle of a song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing the bass, guy's on guitar, my friend's singing, someone's playing the drums. This
Mm-hmm.
guy walks up to me, starts trying to talk to me, and then goes, "I teach bass lessons if you're ever interested."
That's a bit insulting.
And I'm like, thanks. Can I get back to playing this song, my man?
The audacity of some people.
I know. I'm like, okay, I get that I'm like the only girl in the area that plays the bass, but shit, dog. You ain't gotta hit me where it hurts.
That is kind of mean. That is kind of mean. Oh god. I do want to ask before we start fading out from the end of the episode. You said that you are working on something at the moment, and you can tell me to fuck right off if you don't want to tell me anything. I'm just curious if there's anything that you can or want to tell me about it, because I want to know what you're writing.
I want to talk about it, but it's like I said with the first one, I didn't really know like what it was about until it was like basically half done. That's
Okay.
kind of the same way with this one,
Mm-hmm.
where I know that it's the same voice, it's the main character, and it goes from, they're him currently dealing with like, shit, my life is in a tailspin. How the hell did I get here? And then kind of flashing back to like the past things that might have led him to be at that point.
That's cool.
There's a lot of, 1970s surfing.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much music actually at all, because I wanted it to, even though it is the same character.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be able to, you didn't have to read the other one to understand what the hell's going on in this one.
Gotcha. Okay.
where it's like if so in there's a lot of my favorite authors who did that, like Bret Easton Ellis, David Mitchell, John O'Hara, which love that guy. So I know it's a common, not common thing.
So have you set it in the same like universe almost? Are you gonna have any nods to the first one, or are you gonna keep them like absolutely separate?
There will be some nods, but it's scattered in as like it'd be scattered in as if you were reading a book that was like, yeah, so and so's TikTok famous. Not that was just actually the very first thing that came to mind. But how books now, they're like they mention McDonald's or something like that.
Okay, cool.
Where it's like you don't have to know to know.
Yeah. So it's like it's kind of like little Easter eggs for the people who have read the first one, and they'll be like, "Oh, I recognize that thing."
Haha, yeah, exactly.
Was that Mickey Mouse?
Don't worry, I make my own sound effects. You won't have to add any in.
If I had access to a sound effects machine, it would just be fart noises, I think. I hate to say it, I have the humour of
a 12-year-old boy.
A 12-year-old boy, I do. And I will never, ever change. Boobs are funny to me. Farts are funny to me. Poop humour's funny to me, but not when I'm eating. When people accidentally make a weird... What, sorry? Are you laughing because I said boobs? They're funny! Like, actual boobs aren't funny, but saying boobs is funny. There's just something about it that's like, tee, you're not supposed to say that.
I want a boob too, it's even funnier.
Yes, that is such a good insult, because you're like, it's basically saying you bumbling idiot. No, I like that. And when people tell stories about themselves, like, oh, I shit myself or whatever, those stories get me. Because I'm like, how funny is that? I remember I had COVID one time that I know of. And I threw up so hard I pissed myself. And it just... But that's funny! Like, and I tell that story and my husband's like, oh, and he's like, feels sorry for me. And I'm like, no, dude, it's funny. Like, I pissed myself in front of you.
Mine would just laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd just be like, hi, you idiot.
Right? But help me clean it up. So, yeah, anyway, that was a weird tangent. Christ.
I bet you any money he's somewhere in my house listening to me talking to my... It sounds like I'm talking to myself. Yeah, lurking and going, what are you going on about? I'm going to go out there and he's going to be like, what were you going on about?
That's very funny. Do you ever, like, take on his accent by accident?
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens to... Well, actually, I don't think my husband does it by accident. He does it on purpose. And he says, fucking hell, a lot. I'm not even northern, but I say that.
Well, I very recently learned this thing, and I guess that you'd be a good person to ask.
Okay.
Because American people will just do an English accent for no reason.
I don't know what it is. It's really weird.
Do you ever do an English or like an American accent, like to mock it or anything like that?
I only ever say "oh my god" because I think that's funny and it sounds ridiculous. But I never like break into an American accent. And there is something that the American people around me do. And they'll do a British accent and then go, no, you do an American one. And I think, no, I fucking won't. This isn't a two-way thing. You just performed for me and then told me how to get on stage. That's not happening. You wouldn't do that at a gig, would you? Right, I've played a bit. Now you get up and play the fucking drums. That's not how it works.
I will admit, I am so bad. I do accents all day, every day. I'll throw out the Russian one. You know, when I'm talking to my dogs because they're huskies. It's probably really bad. I can't say that I do an English one though.
That's okay.
My catchphrases are what in tarnation, get out of town, shut the front door.
I love that you have catchphrases. You're basically a cartoon.
We all have catchphrases at work. One of the guys that I work with says "gee whiz."
Oh, that's kind of cute.
It's really funny, actually.
Is it just like, do they just say it randomly, or is it in response to stuff?
Usually it's in response to stuff.
Oh, would have been funny if it was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, like I will say what in tarnation just out of nowhere.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I like it when things are out of context and just a bit strange, and you like, where did that come from? I was telling my sister-in-law a story, and this is why I don't do American accents, okay? Because it always sounds like I'm being mean, and I have to be very careful around my delicate Southern family in Texas because they don't get British humor, and if I say anything that is slightly funny, it's that was mean. No, it wasn't. I'm doing it because I love you. Now let me be horrible. So anyway, we were at a restaurant, and I can't remember where it was or why we even started bringing it up, but we were talking about safe words. And I said that my aunt and uncle, they play fight like verbally, and then if one of them upsets the other one, they say cheese plant. To say like that was mean. Time
Tap
out.
it out.
Don't be mean to me anymore. And then they stop. And I was telling this story, and she kept looking at me like, "What the fuck are you saying?" And she was like, "What are you saying?" And I said, "Cheese plant." And she was like, "I still don't understand what you're saying." I kept saying, cheese plant. And she's like, "I don't get it." So I just out of nowhere went, cheese plant. And then her face, it was like thunder. It was the funniest thing. Honestly, her expression dropped and she was just like, "What the fuck? That was rude." And I was like, "That's why I don't do accents, because it sounds like I'm being mean."
Cheese plant.
Cheese plant. And then we yelled that to each other. So, I mean, it turned out okay and she's fine now, but it was very funny. Her face just dropped because she was like, "Wow, okay, you don't need to be a bitch."
I'm gonna say this right now. British humor is so funny. It has
Isn't
no
it?
business being as funny as it is.
Right? We haven't earned it.
We haven't earned it. Just
casually funny.
I think part of it is the execution.
Yeah.
It's got to be the execution of it that just makes it so funny.
It's the dryness. And also, it's usually, like, we'll say things, and if you say just anything in the right tone, it sounds like you're being horrible. So if you say, like, "You fucking doorknob," it doesn't mean anything. But people are like, "Oh, that's mean."
That's not mean, that's funny.
It is, well, it is funny. But I've said...
It's a bit funny.
But it means I get away with stuff, because I can say, "Oh, you donut." But in my head, I'm like, donut is not donut. But it's like the safe way of saying, because, like, my family... my mum bought me a card for my birthday one year that said, "Only twats are born in March." That's when I'm born. And my dad calls me a twat sometimes if I'm getting
That's
upset
got a
over
different meaning
something.
over here.
What, sorry?
I said I feel like that's got a different meaning over here.
It's got the same meaning.
Oh, it does?
TWAT.
Okay.
Yeah, same meaning. So if I get upset about something and my dad thinks I'm being a fanny, he goes, "Don't be a twat." And I go, "Oh, okay." But that's love, man. That's how my family talk to each other, and I've had to really adapt. So, do you guys ever have miscommunication problems? Like, do either you or your husband say one thing and you think, "Oh, that was horrible," when actually you didn't mean it?
I'm trying to think, because I feel like we have.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sometimes he do just be saying stuff.
That's the Irish for you.
Like, he'll say something and it'll be like, big old cheese and grin, and I'm like, what?
I could probably say pretty much anything with enough conviction, and you just have to believe me.
I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. because it's nonsense. A lot of the weird phrases and things that I don't get to use day to day because people don't understand what I'm saying don't actually make any sense, and they're very weird, and it makes you feel shit if you're in a room full of American people and you say something and they're all like, you're weird, so then you have to just say things like cheese plant, and then it's fine. Anyway,
the thing I was gonna say real quick, the thing that's very funny about you saying it like that is that's actually a more specific accent. That is a like Northeast or Midwest. Midwest is actually more of the term where it's the A, and that's how I talk. Where it's very A.
Oh, interesting. Where are you from originally?
Michigan.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The Mitten State. Metro Detroit. So hardcore. Joining gangs. No, there are no gangs in Detroit as far as I know. Well, I did the peace signs. That was like all I could think of.
Oh, this has been a lot of fun, and it's been really nice getting to know you. Thank you very much for being here. It sounds like a eulogy. I'm going to say that again.
Thank you, my children, for being here.
You are loved, you are appreciated. Thank you for making the time to be here today. Anyway, so before we go, where can our lovely listeners find you and your work? Not you, it's like your location where you live. I mean your social media and stuff, because that would be a weird piece of information to share.
You'll find me where you find the rockets, baby. You can decipher that. There's like 4 places in the entire country.
Did you want to plug any of your social media? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Well, I'm on the Twitter and Blue Sky. Both are It's Music Mommy. All one thing, no punctuation. Then my blog is what is my blog? Because I have 2 of them. I have a Substack, which is Bell Bottom Bassist. And then I know for a fact that I have a WordPress that I actually update a little bit more than that. Oh, the WordPress is it's Music Mommy as well, but it comes up as Bell Bottom Bassist. So
cool. Okay, I'll put the links in the description.
As confusing as that all might be. Oh no. Where am I at?
That's okay. I'll put it in the description of the episode so people don't have to write it on a piece of paper. I don't know what people do these days.
Like a peasant. Ugh. Who has pens these days?
You love handwriting stuff with pens, apparently. So but anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. So I'll catch you later.
Well, thanks for having me here. I appreciate it as well. And it was very fun.
That was very civilized. Goodbye.
I mean, I can do the radio voice or the Siri voice or the phone voice.
Oh, what's your radio voice? Do you want to do a radio sign out? I'm into it.
All right, let me come up with one on the fly. I'm not that good anymore. My radio voice is more like, it's very similar to this. It's like, thank you for listening to, and then, you just kind of go on from there and just throw a little spiel out.
That was a car crash. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But yes, thank you for being here, and I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Yeah, okay, before the train,
Before it derails.